Bang, Needs Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're checking out some new stuff, some new knives that I am checking out for the first time. We're also going to go over some things that are coming soon. So let's check this out first. This did come from VOSTEED. Now, I don't know if it's like a new company or anything like that. If I can, I'll link it below. I'm not even sure if it's available yet. But obviously, we have a Cleaver. And I'm not a fan of the steel that it's on, but I kind of understand. So we obviously have a Cleaver here. It's got a little finger hole. I don't know if you'd really use that, but it also looks like it can open things like bottles and stuff. It's only 7CR. So that's the problem I have. So 7CR, it's gonna be a good stainless, but it's not gonna hold a sharp edge for very long at all. You can think of it as less than 8CR. So I'm not a fan of the steel on this. However, I do kind of understand you're just chopping bones and stuff like that. Is it that big of a deal? I don't know, but anyways, it's pretty cool either way. And for somebody who is into hatchets and cleavers, this will be a very affordable one for you. Looks like you have a little spot back there that you can, hit with, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's pretty dope. It's just the sheath though, let's talk about that. This is some cheap sheath work right here. I know it's probably gonna be super duper cheap, the entire thing, but I can tell from the leather that it's very poor quality. This is like a, what's it called? It's like a coating they put over the leather to help bond the leather together because it's not a good cut of leather. I can feel there's also a thing on this side too. So there's like a sealant on this side and then a coating on this side, which is a lot of signs that the leather is poor quality. I can see the grain structure in it. And you can see that thin layer of coating over the top of this leather, which means if it wasn't for that, it'd probably be coming apart. Next, don't forget that in a couple days on the 25th, there will be some B3s available for pre-order. So there was only 200 available for purchase, the B2s. So those are gonna sell out really quick, but the B3s you can pre-order. So if you wanna get on a list and get some here in a couple months as soon as they're available, it has the machined titanium. Awesome knife. I've raved about this thing quite a bit, so I'm not gonna go too crazy in this video. You can go watch my full review or my first impressions of this one. Next is from Going Gear. So if you want to get monthly subscriptions to EDC gear, camping gear, survival gear, hunting gear, things like that, subscribe to Going Gear. You can get a monthly package of random stuff every month. This month's package, we have this wooden little tray. Then we have a survival kit, or not survival, sorry, a medical kit. So this is first aid kit. That's all packaged up really nice and tight. You can see everything that's in there. Very cool. Next we have a flashlight, nice flashlight, but here, let's check out the knives first because that's what you guys are probably into first. So this is the SRM Mecca, and you guys can read it right there if you really want to. Let's check it out. So the Mecca from SRM. Ooh, let's just move this stuff really quick and take a quick look at it. Well, that's interesting looking. So it's a front flipper with a crossbar lock. So the front flipper is pretty snappy. Yeah, pretty easy to use the front flipper. The front flipper is actually pretty snappy. They did a good job with the detent on this crossbar lock. Now, yeah, you can get the reverse flick, but it's not easy. I would say no, it's not a good reverse flicking knife. It's just too tight. I can get it, as you can see, but it's not reliable. The front flipper though, I wish the jimping was a little bit sharper, and why ever do the jimping without going all the way over the top? Why do you want the top of a front flipper to be slippery? I understand you put your thumb in the front, but still though, it's just a point. I do feel a tiny bit of detent lash. It is a crossbar lock, but I mean, it's snappy, and crossbar locks are very strong. It's pretty easy to access the crossbar lock. It is very smooth on the drop. We have what looks like G10 with a carbon fiber sticker overlay. Deep carry clip. Now, let's talk about some negatives, because we have one major negative. This damn clip placement. Why on earth? And I hate to sit here and beat this up because, it's really cool getting random knives and stuff. But man, oh man, like, why would you ever put a clip on the spine? Like, look, that's where your hand wraps around. So all I feel right now is this just gouging into my hand. Now, of course, I could choke up right there, and then then my hand's past it. So, you can do that. You can reverse grip it. It does, it's pretty ergonomic in a lot of grips, but when you're talking about choking back here like this, it's not comfortable at all. Very lightweight though, I'll give it that. Super duper lightweight. It's cool. So I don't want to take anything away from it. It's really cool. It's definitely interesting, definitely unique. It's something that stands out, and I do appreciate that because, we're so used to seeing the same old. This is pretty cool. What is the steel on this? D2 steel, and this is the 9225. So pretty cool. The Mecca 9225, $52 they're saying. That's not bad. That's not bad. 3.25 inch blade. Drop point blade. As long as the D2's done well, that's not too bad of a job. Let's check out the next one. So the next one, I think this is a little bit more premium, or at least it feels like it's gonna be. So this is, we have the Concept Corvid M for 70 bones, or at least
I just said, hey, Saul, feature.
It has a deep carry clip, not reversible. It has multiple forms of deployment. You have the thumb studs, you have the fuller, and you have a flipper tab. All work really good. Somewhat of a small finger choil. Your finger just fits in there so you can get a full grip. You can choke back, but this is basically like a little utility cutter. That's what it's gonna be. To me, it's obviously, to me personally, right? You might think this looks really cool. I think it's a little ugly. I like the Corvids. I'm not mad at them or anything. I just think they're very ugly. They don't look like a very useful knife. But as far as utility cutting goes, they work good. So pretty cool. And what is the steel on this one? 154 CM blade steel. Solid detent on this one, man. As far as negatives go, the only thing I can really come up with is that, the choil being a little bit small. And, it's just ugly. So other than that, though, man, pretty solid. Decent geometry. Anyways, let's check out this light. The light is from AceBeam. And I've already checked it out briefly. Super duper bright. So it has a basically like a setting back here where you can set it to the where you want it, and then you can turn it off and on, and it'll turn right back to the setting you leave it at. So that's pretty cool, and it is super duper bright. It's got the little gear, or the little teeth up here in the nose, I guess for like self-defense use, or I don't know, maybe breaking glass or something. I don't know if you'd ever use it. It does have a rechargeable battery on the inside. So, and it's pretty cool. It feels like it's all aluminum. It has a good weight to it. I don't know why it has a clip, because this is definitely not one you're gonna carry on in your pocket. But I guess if you needed to just get by with it, you could. Let's check out the battery just really quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Nice big battery. This is an awesome battery. And you can see you can recharge it right there. So if you got the standard box for $60, this is what you would get. Everything below standard. So that would be the standard box for 60 bucks. If you spent the 200 bucks, you'd get this entire box. Not too bad of a box. I'm not mad at it. I really like the flashlight. The knives, they're okay. I'm not going to sit here and, say that I'm like, just like in love with the knives, but they're okay. They're not bad. Let's check out the next one. Now, the next one is a Sativian knife. And it is the Sativian ST153 and 14C28N. And I gotta say, it looks very similar to Kara's design of Butters. That's what she calls it. It's weird because this thing feels mega comfortable, but looking at it, you'd be like, man, that thing looks very awkward. But when you get it in your hand, you're like, wow, that's a palm filler. The blade shape's going to be really good. It's going to be a great cutter. Good access to the lock bar. Now, here's the problem. The front flipper works almost too good. I know, that's weird, right? It almost works too good. And let me explain. So you have so much power into this snap that if you snap it hard enough, it disengages because it hits the stop pin so hard that it makes it to where it pops back before the lock bar even gets a chance to engage. Like, I can feel it. It hasn't done this and then disengaged, but I can feel it like wanting to. Like right there. I'm like waiting for it to just like do it. No. And now it's starting to get, yeah, this thing's kind of crappy. It's now it's getting rock. It didn't have that before. I've already checked it multiple times and now it's getting it because it's just, there's so much power, which I enjoy. I like having that much power, but it's not failing. But it's too much power. Too much power, too much horsepower, because it makes it to where when you hit the stop pin, it's so fast it hits it and it wants to come back, and there's almost enough power to make it disengage. Man, I can feel it. Like, it's like it hits and then it kicks forward a little bit and then locks back up. It's weird. And I don't think that's something that'll break in or get better. That's probably something that'll get worse. Especially, I could fix this little rattle. I would just strengthen the lock bar. I would take it apart and strengthen the lock bar. But do I really want to do that fresh out of the box? Not really. It almost needs a little bit more strength. Ooh, there it goes. It did engage. It almost needs a little bit more strength in the lock bar so that it engages. Like, and that's why I always talk about it. If you guys ever listen to me, when I slow roll a knife and I talk about the engagement, how it engages is super important. And in this case, you know, this one's just, you know, it's too much power. But other than that, you know, it's really cool. I can reverse flick it. I think the front flipper is done very well. I like the detent. It snaps with authority. Very easy to slow roll. Decent jimping. Good access to the lock bar. Nice deep carry clip. I do not like that it's that it has button screws. I don't know why they wouldn't just put flat screws. But all in all, you know, it is what it is, right? I'm not going to say it's cool because it's, you know, I can feel that there's going to be issues. So the Precision Knife Works Worn Tack is back on sale again until the 1st. It'll be for $225. Now he has full hollow ground versions. This is hollow ground, but full hollow all the way up to the spine, which is reground to thinner geometry, even though this is still very thin already, but even thinner geometry for $300. So it's basically the same thing with a reground blade up to the spine. He has for $300, but if you want this version exactly right here with the micro milling and everything, you can get it for $225 right now. I will pin a little card up here in the corner if you want to see my most recent video on it, but I also do have a full review. So let's get to the next one. Next is the LUFT Avant, which is available for purchase right now. I will have it linked down in the description. I believe both versions are available. These are done by RIAT. A beautiful hollow ground drop point blade. We'll get back to that in one second. Then, like I said, there's different versions. This one is they are titanium liner locks, which is really cool. I can't think of another titanium liner lock from RIAT. I'm sure there is some. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but really cool that it's a titanium liner lock, titanium backspacer, deep carry clip that is reversible, fantastic access to the lock bar, and super duper smooth. Now what's really cool about this is how the whole deployment is placed. It's literally the perfect reverse flicking knife, and you can tell that they designed it around that, because just the way it sits in your hand, nice and comfortably, and your finger just naturally falls right into that spot, right where there's pressure, where you can snap it open with authority. Like I said, very smooth on the drop. Then you have the flipper tab, which if you look at how high it is compared to the center of the pivot, just pulling down on it, it goes all the way to there. So not including breaking the detent. Lots of leverage on this flipper tab. This one is one you're not gonna fail unless if you absolutely try or cheat. Very, very snappy. Now let's get back to this blade. It is a nice robust spine, which I really like, and it's a crown spine. Then it has a mega thin hollow grind. And this thing is ground extremely thin. And then the blade shape is really good for EDC. The tip could be a little bit lower in my opinion, but it's still pretty easy to get to. Now, here's something that's really cool. The ergonomics and the blade with each other. So basically you can get up nice and tight to that edge for hardcore push cuts. You can do nice good slicing cuts. Pinch grips are going to be great. Then you can very, very, very comfortably turn it around and cut backwards. It doesn't look like it would be because of the shape. It's rarely comfortable to turn a knife around backwards and cut backwards with this shape, but they have a beautiful placement for your fingers to wrap around. This does not jump up very high, so it's very comfortable. So you can easily, and get nice and tight to the edge too, so you can easily cut straps over and over, you know, if that was something that you regularly do. So it's gonna be a knife that's just really, really good for EDC purposes, you know, and like I said, it's very fidgety. It is fun to play with. You know, it's got great action, and, you know, Riet does a really good job. So anyways, like I said, I'll have them linked down in the description for you guys. Really cool sound too. Listen to that. Very cool sound. Anyways, there you guys go. Until next time, peace.